Ellie-Ann Reynolds, I'm curious, you paint a very interesting picture of what it was like being in those meetings, talking about the inquiry. You've talked about what happened in those meetings. We're here to listen to tales of accountability. Can you name names? Who was saying these things? Who was being bullying? Who was being controlling? Were they Home Office officials? Who were they? Were they senior? And who do you think they were answering to? If there's any more detail that you can give about exactly what was going on, that would be appreciated. Nigel Farage, do you want to be on this commission? And a lot of this comes down to the Home Office. There are suggestions today, look at the asylum hotels situation, that the Home Office should be split. Do you think that's a good idea? And finally, on Sarah Pochin, can you explain why it isn't racist? You spent a lot of time in your career looking at issues of race. You've thought about this deeply, but can you explain why you don't think those remarks were racist?
Ellie, go first. Who was it?
Naming names, I don't know whether I'm allowed to do that, but what I can confirm is that it was the Home Office and it was NWG Network. They're an organisation that work very closely with the Home Office, and they are meant to be survivor-based, survivor-led. As for the names, you can probably find who does what online. I just don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
Well, I think you might be in it privately after the event.
But I do believe that they were answering higher up, especially by the way that they were coming across. They were, you have to look at us survivors. Many of us are unable to work with mental health conditions that are lifelong after suffering the abuse, and they were paying every survivor on the panel at £50 an hour.
There you are. That hasn't come out so far, which is very interesting, is it not?
Well, it has now.
Does it not? And it may well be, Sam, that afterwards, through briefings, we might get one or two names that you might have access to, as with the rest of the room. The hotel. Who was the first person to expose the hotels? Me in 2020, going up to a hotel just west of Birmingham to say when they cross the channel, this is what happens to them. Yes, of course, there are certain companies that have made massive profits. You really have to look at the share price of one or two of them. And like you, even I'm being cautious today because I'd rather not be sued, to see what an absolute racket the whole thing has been. So the Labour government can sort of blame the Tories, and the Tories can sort of blame the Home Office, and maybe Labour in time can blame the whole Home Office. Who's in charge of the Home Office? The British government. So why don't the British government get a grip? We were told over 20 years ago, in Blair's first term, that the Home Office was not fit for purpose. Well, it's about time somebody in government had the guts to deal with it. I think the most interesting thing about the hotel story that hasn't really been reported, unless I've missed it, is there are tenders now out until 2036 at least, which shows you this government has absolutely no intention of putting a stop to illegal immigration at all. And on Sarah Pochin, I think I've given quite a few answers on that subject already.